Yesterday, the Supreme Court again extended its block on a lower court ruling that would limit access to a commonly used abortion drug nationwide. The court's decision maintains full access to the abortion pill Mifepristone through at least 5 p.m. on Thursday. Access to the drug was put in jeopardy after the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals granted Louisiana's request to void a Biden-era rule that allowed the drug to be dispensed through the mail, which effectively allowed it to be sent to states with strict abortion bans. Joining me on set now is the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood and the Planned Parenthood Action Fund, Alexis McGill Johnson. Alexis, thank you so much for being here. Let's start with the Supreme Court extending its stay until Thursday. How is your organization and providers preparing if the court ultimately lifts the stay as the case plays out? What would it mean if there were a ban on mailing Mifepristone and if that were to go into effect?
I mean, look, first of all, medication abortion, Mifepristone, is safe and effective. It has been FDA approved for 25 years. 7.5 million patients have used this, over that time. And I think it's kind of ridiculous that Louisiana is trying to use the Supreme Court to enact a backdoor abortion ban. Planned Parenthood health centers across the country are preparing for, to ensure that patients continue to get the care that they need coming into health centers, or also, identifying alternatives for them to support their care. There's no question that women will continue to need Mifepristone. More than half of patients who seek access to abortion use this medication. And so it's just kind of ridiculous that we are here, once again, in this political football when people actually just need health care.
You mentioned that more than half, maybe 60% of abortions in the United States are through medication abortion. How much of that is the access that these patients have through telehealth, particularly in places where there aren't necessarily providers that are easily available?
Look, telehealth has actually been tremendous. I mean, we've all kind of had a new experience with telehealth since COVID, right? 6 years ago. And what it has done for the abortion care infrastructure, it has allowed actually patients in city to be able to get care through telehealth in their city, creating appointments for those patients who are traveling into states because of the abortion bans and the restrictions that exist in the states where they are coming from. So imagine somebody coming from Texas to New York, right? It's great for us, for a Planned Parenthood health center to be able to open up an appointment for that patient and serve telehealth to the patients in New York City. And I think that's one of the things that they are shifting. When we look at how Louisiana is essentially trying to use this Supreme Court, we are looking at the impact on care, on patients, and understanding that, there is no way that, a patient who is in need in this moment can't get the access to the telehealth care that they need.
There's been a lot that's happened since the Dobbs decision in terms of abortion access across the country, but the thought process was that abortions would actually drop across the U.S. after the Dobbs decision, but it's actually increased, according to the health research group KFF. What do you attribute that to?
I mean, look, I think because people are getting access to telehealth care, because Mifepristone is certainly become much more available for folks. But the reality is people who need access to abortion will seek access to abortion. And I will tell you that stat is killing the opposition. That's why they are doing everything they can to come for, ways to enact, further restrictions after Dobbs.
Yeah, the president's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, as it's called, last year included a provision that defunded Planned Parenthood for 1 year, but that expires on July 4th. The president was asked about this yesterday, whether or not it would be renewed, and I want you to hear his response and then, or hear his answer and then respond.
Congress is now negotiating. We've been very good for the people that want it, for the people that are here, and we'll see how that goes. It's been a very thorny, to put it mildly, it's been a very thorny issue. It's all under negotiation right now.
How do you expect this to play out? The president says it's thorny. I imagine there are some Republicans that aren't necessarily comfortable with Planned Parenthood funding still going away. Do you anticipate that the funding will come back? Where do you think things stand?
Look, we have made it politically toxic for Republicans to vote on defunding Planned Parenthood again. We know that by and large, people support Planned Parenthood. 70% of Americans do not want to see Planned Parenthood defunded in the same way they do not want to see Mifepristone be taken away. They know that in the midterms that continuing to attack Planned Parenthood, continuing to take away access to abortion is going to mean that they're going to be at risk. So we're going to do everything we can to keep the pressure on them, and we're going to make sure that we get back into the budget.
But have you had any specific talks with members of Congress? Has this come up in these conversations?
Absolutely. I'm on the Hill every week having these conversations, and we believe, when this expires, that we will have a path back into the Medicaid program, and we expect that our providers deserve to be reimbursed fairly for the provision of care, just like every other provider.
And I mean, I think people need to understand. It's not as if there was a line item for Planned Parenthood.
There's no line item.
Access to funds for services.
Just like every other provider.
I do want to get your reaction. Yesterday, the Trump administration did a big rollout of a maternal health care initiative. They launched a government site with information and resources for moms. Do you support that in any ways? Is any part of that good that they're focusing on this as an issue and providing these resources to moms?
Look, I believe that it is the responsibility of the federal government in these United States to address a maternal health care crisis, right? We see that particularly for Black women who are experiencing 3 times the harm and mortality rate as white women in this country. Taking that on is important. How this administration is doing it should be actually funding Planned Parenthood. It should be funding the organizations that are in the communities addressing everything from wellness exams to access to contraception, ensuring that people are getting the care that they need. What they have on that website is anything but.
Okay. Alexis, McGill, Johnson, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.